Well, I did the Extreme Super Battle Road. I did all the Red Zone missions. I even did the Special Post Cell Max. And I actually was sadistic enough to do the GT Bosses mission for the Goku event. I officially completed Dokkan. There's not much going on. I mean, I don't know, it just feels so dry. I feel so dissatisfied. I wonder how the people on the subreddit are feeling. Oh, wait a second. Oh, the salt detector's going way off. There's a lot of salt to unpack here. Now, as you may or may not know, Global Dokkan Battle is basically still living under Jim Crow laws when it comes to content releases. Second-class citizen, you know, you try to come out here and get an EZA out here, and it's tough. It's very, very tough. So, recently it was announced that for JP that the LR Go Bros will be getting an EZA, which in my opinion is very needed. I mean, I don't use them that much. I mean, they are very, very relevant on a Goku family team, which is pretty much the only place you would ever run them. And it's sad because they used to be titans of the game, and now they are collecting dust like crazy. And for some reason, I don't know why JP did this or why the Dokkan developers, designers decided this, but they're like, you know what? We're going to release 5 Turles, and at the same time, we're going to release the EZA for the Gohan and Goten. And a lot of people are saying, probably rightfully so, that the reason why they didn't release the Gohan and the Goten during the Goku Day celebration, which, believe it or not, there was a Goku Day celebration, not much was going on, is because they didn't want to release it on Global and JP at the same time. And it's kind of annoying. I mean, I know there was intentions, I think 2-3 years ago at this point, to get things in line where the same thing that happens on JP happens on Global. But it seems like that's not the case yet again. I mean, similarly, now this guy right here, there's been a couple people who made a laundry list of things that they're not happy about. A lot of these things come to mind immediately. Some of these things are a little bit of a slow burn. But, you know, it's similar to when AGL, LR Gohan, and Imperfect Cell were randomly delayed on Global. Why? I don't know. I think that a lot of the opinions that people are having make perfect sense. I think it's very true. I don't know about attacking a single person. They're basically saying that a lot of the issues that are being done right now are because of the current producer that's there, that's new. I think Dokkan for a long time had issues where they were trying to balance new characters versus old favorites. Like, if you haven't noticed, Goku and Vegeta are very, very favorites in the game, believe it or not. And they've been on almost every anniversary. Some form of them have been in an anniversary in the past. And, you know, people are kind of wondering, like, why is there no LR Kid Buu? Why is there no LR Omega Shenron? That's facts. Keep it a buck. GT Boss is literally on life support. And I think that it's just very odd how the planning goes into the game. I think that I said it before and I'll say it again. I feel like the game has so many different modes and so many different things that they add them, but then they don't update them. You know, you add things like, for example, the original Incredible Gems. You add things like Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, which was very cool, and then eventually just became whatever. Battlefield eventually took that place, and now Battlefield became kind of whatever. Like, it's very, you know, the game goes through cycles where it'll add a new event, and then eventually it'll just get sunsetted or not supported enough where it's just kind of like whatever. And I think there's certain modes in the game, in my opinion, I don't know why they exist. I don't know why they support it. I don't know why they put any time into it. The 2 events I can think of off the top of my head is Bataan Battle, which is absolutely, I don't know, bro. Like, you have a mobile game within a mobile game. You go in Inception levels here. And then you also have the Chain Battle, which in my opinion is very stupid. I understand the whole idea is like, for it to be a different type of game mode and you get gear from it, and the idea is that you literally just use it for equips. I rarely do it. I rarely care about it. And I think that if they took time and effort away from that and put it towards other things, such as adding newer events or just general maintenance, I think it would be a lot better. Because I think for me too, one thing that I noticed about the game lately, when they add certain new events, they don't necessarily always add them and treat them the same way. Like, for example, the current Ginyu Force event, if you wanted to, if you missed a day, you could go to Portal Memories and play them. It's whatever. But say if you miss a Team Bardock event for Tora or Bardock himself, and they're not in the Portal Memories. And the reason why is just because they're just not. And, you know, that's a very small detail. But what that tells me personally is that the development staff have so much shit to deal with that they either forgot about that, don't care about that, or they just dropped it on the floor and said it's not worth our time and effort. And for me personally, I played a game called Naruto Blazing. Rest in peace, Naruto Blazing. And that kind of comes to mind, not as egregiously, but in Naruto Blazing, they refused to add a simple feature of a list feature. And it's something that was so simple, but they just ignored it because they had other things to do. It kind of brings to mind the same thing where it's just kind of like poor management. It's very odd that Dokkan has gotten to the point now where, you know, it's 8 years. Granted, it's a mobile game, and I think people somewhat fairly unfairly say, like, what do you expect from a mobile game? Some way, somehow, I think that they have gone down the wrong path in terms of not adding certain extreme units and adding support for that. And I think that the whole EZA debacle they've been doing for the past couple months where they release a unit and then immediately release an EZA for a completely random unit is very dumb. I don't know why they're doing that. I don't know if they... I would assume that they have a list of LRs or a list of units they want to EZA, and they're just going in that order. They're not going to change that order. They just have that order. It doesn't really help Turles at all, and it's kind of weird. It's like you have two things going on. I understand they're probably trying to go from like oldest to newest, you know, kind of like a round robin thing. I don't know if that'll necessarily work, and I don't know if that'll necessarily be necessary, because you could have something where, you know, you have 5 Turles coming out and you say, hey, you know what, we're going to do an EZA for SDR Turles. They're related. It supports them. We get that out of the way. And then when there's dead time, you could just EZA the Go Bros, or when there's a different time, such as Goku Day, which was like 2 weeks ago, you could EZA them. And I think that what other things that people bring up is also true is that not adding new events, like there hasn't been a lot of new red zones. There hasn't really been like things that people have teased at and thought would come, such as a legendary Frieza event. I mean, me personally, I feel like it's a no-brainer to make a legendary Frieza event. And then at the same time, if you wanted to, if you want to put in a little effort, make a final form Frieza, because right now there is no final form Frieza in the game. There's only one. It was a tech final form Frieza, but his TUR was fumbled way back when. So, you know, things like that where it's like if you play the game, there's certain things that are kind of obvious missing. Obviously, as the units I mentioned before, they no longer exist. And I think if you go through here, the salt is immense. The salt is real. Where they bring up things like teal coins, which I also agree with. I think that having even the yellow coins was kind of stupid. I don't know why. I understand why they did the yellow coin LRs. It's because they used to do the double rate dragon banners, and it was kind of like whatever. You just go there and get like random filler units. So they added those yellow coins to give you a reason to go to that banner if you already had everything in the game, or most of the things that were on the banner. But then they added the teal coins as like a cash grab. And I also think that when it comes to the game itself, there's certain things in the game that should have just been changed years ago. Like, I still think that the stamina system is stupid. It just should not exist whatsoever. If you want to keep it for World Tournament and make it so that, you know, that's pretty much the only event people spend stones anyway, you could update the game to not use stamina and just have it for World Tournament. Because at the end of the day, you know, if you're in a marketplace where you're competing with other games and you're competing with other media, you're putting a stamina restriction on the game. And there's been multiple times where I just like stop playing the game because it's like, okay, I used my stamina. And then there's been other times where I've like spent, you know, the meat. I know a lot of people that are like, oh, but you have the meat, you can use the meat. Again, like, the meat is just another workaround for the stamina system. It really should not exist. Like, it should just get rid of it. I mean, to be honest, I mean, Dokkan kind of like brushed off the whole stamina system anyway, because after you hit like rank 300 or 400, you get like minimal stamina increases. It's not like how it is when you first start the game, where like every level you're getting hella stamina increases. Like, if I was level 800 and my stamina was like 1,000, I'd be like, hey, yo, I'm living large. Yo, keep the stamina. I love this class system where I'm an elite. But, you know, your stamina tops off around like 250 to 300, and once you get it low, you pretty much stop playing the game. And that's the thing. I understand that there's only so many events in the game, but at the same time, it's just such an unnecessary barrier where it literally kicks you off the game. But I wonder if other people feel this way. Me personally, I've played Dokkan on and off. I'm gonna be honest. One of the best decisions they made recently, it's kind of a double-edged sword because it's such a good team, is the 23rd World Tournament team. I really like that. I had a lot of fun with that. Almost every event that I could use them, I did use them. So I think that was a really cool decision. I think when they add things like the Sand Saga team and things like that, it's very cool, and events that revolve around that are very cool. But I wonder how other people feel about this. Is the game just a mobile game? Does it not matter? Do you not even pay attention to this type of stuff? Or is this actually something you've noticed?